Welcome back to the AAA Ball and Play podcast, where we talk contracts, chaos, and everything in between, without ever pretending sports is just a game. I'm Lee, your resident sports attorney, tax brain, and professional overthinker of roster moves.
And I'm Michael, former strength coach, athlete agent, and the guy who keeps reminding everyone that at some point, somebody still has to actually play the game.
Today's episode is a doubleheader. In part one, we're hitting the MLB hot stove. Who's spending, who's pretending, which teams are power buyers, and why agents are looking at Dylan Cease's contract like it's the new 10 Commandments.
Then in part two, we jump to college football rivalry week. When undefeated teams fail, playoff seeds shuffled, and the new 12-team bracket basically got tossed into a blender.
A couple of quick housekeeping notes before we dive in. The newest Chalk Talk Book Club episode, breaking down Deion Sanders' Elevate and Dominate 21 Ways to Win on and off the Field, will be out on Wednesday. If you're an athlete, parent, or coach, or really anybody, and you're not tapped into that yet, fix it, please. You can get the book through the link below or on our website.
The Ball and Play shop is running a 10% sale. 10% off and free shipping between now and December 6th. Grab your gear, support the show, and show up to bowl games and hot stove season in something that actually fits your brand.
And then every Monday at 9 a.m., we've got new fast breaks dropping, quick hit, high info breakdowns to start your week smarter than the algorithm.
So whether you're here for contracts, coaching tape, or just to see which front office we irritate the most, you're in the right place.
So hit subscribe, grab your coffee or tea, and let's get into it.
Welcome back to part two of the AAA Ball and Play podcast. It's still Sunday, but now we shift to college football. Rivalry week is officially in the books, and whatever version of the college football playoff we thought we understood on Friday, that version no longer exists.
I'm sitting here this afternoon feeling equal parts amazed, amused, and honestly a little grateful, because every year rivalry week is unpredictable, but this was a full sermon on how quickly things can shift. One of the last heavyweight unbeatens finally cracked, seeds shuffled, underdogs rose, doors closed, new ones opened. That's rivalry week, but it's also just life.
And football didn't just give us drama. It gave us clarity. Ohio State delivered a statement. Texas A&M choked away a bye. And a few teams may have just played themselves into hosting a playoff game.
So let's talk about it. Every game, every upset, every ripple, because the 12-team bracket we're waking up to looks nothing like the one we fell asleep expecting.
I'm starting with Friday because the story really began there. The Egg Bowl went exactly how Ole Miss needed it to go. The Rebels walked into the game with pressure, handled it, and walked out 11-1 with a 38-19 win over Mississippi State. First 11-win regular season in school history, and absolutely still in the hosting conversation.
Friday also set the tone for the conference title picture in a huge way. Number 2 Indiana didn't just survive at Purdue, they detonated them. 56-3 in the old Oaken bucket. 12-0 for the first perfect regular season in school history, and a locked-in spot opposite Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game.
Friday felt like a quiet prelude, but every single one of those games turned out to be the first domino.
Now let's get into the real avalanche. Saturday was supposed to be straightforward. The top of the board was lined with unbeatens on track for first-round buys. Instead, we got a seismic reshuffling. Here are the biggest results from Saturday.
The game. Ohio State versus Michigan. Ohio State had 27, Michigan had 9. Ohio snaps a 4-game losing streak in the rivalry, finishes 12-0, and clinches a spot in the Big Ten title game against undefeated Indiana. The Buckeyes are sitting on the inside track to number 1 overall seed in the 12-team CFP. And for those that don't know, that's college football playoffs.
Then we've got the Lone Star Showdown, Texas A&M versus Texas. This is always one of my favorite games because I went to Texas A&M and I graduated from Texas, and they're huge rivalries. Texas was 27, Texas A&M was 17, and A&M takes its first loss of the year and falls out of the bye conversation and the SEC title contention. Texas salvaged its season. It stays in the broader CFP discussion at 9-3, but we're talking more sneaky at large than campus host.
Big 12 decider, Texas Tech versus West Virginia. Texas Tech 49, West Virginia 0. Tech moves to 11-1 and clinches a Big 12 championship game berth. Star point shutout, plus they get BYU, who rallied past UCF in Arlington. Tech just punched their CFP ticket and is making a serious argument for a first-round bye if they finish 12-1.
And then we've got the Iron Bowl, which was an amazing game, Alabama versus Auburn. It ended up Alabama 27, Auburn 20. It was classic Iron Bowl nonsense. Alabama blew a 17-point lead. Auburn tied it. And then Ty Simpson hit Isaiah Horton for his third touchdown on 4th and 2 inside the 10 to win it. Alabama escapes, moves to 10-2, clinches a spot in the SEC championship game against Georgia, keeping its CFP an even outside shot by hopes alive.
The host bid game. Notre Dame at Stanford. Notre Dame 49, Stanford 20. Notre Dame finishes 10-2 and wins 10 straight with every single victory by double digits. Fake punt bomb, dominant from the opening whistle. The Irish are absolutely in the conversation for a top 8 seed and a campus playoff game. And they're going to be a headache for the committee if some favorites lose on championship weekend.
Then we have the ACC qualification game, which was Virginia versus Virginia Tech. The result was Virginia 27, Virginia Tech 7. Virginia capped a 10-2 regular season, clinched a spot in the ACC championship game versus Duke, and suddenly has a path to an automatic bid and maybe even a back-end bye if utter chaos hits elsewhere. This was a huge leap for a program that wasn't even supposed to be here at this point in August. And, watching all of this unfold, especially seeing Texas A&M season implode, reminded me of something I live every day. You can do everything right and still wake up needing a new plan. That doesn't mean you failed. It just means your season got rewritten.
And as those games flipped, the bracket flipped with them. Teams who walked in undefeated are now playing first-round games. Teams on the bubble are now hosting. That's how deep the chaos ran. Here's where everything lands this morning. Texas A&M finally took that first loss, while Ohio State and Indiana both stayed perfect. The top of the board is shaken, but not broken. If we're being realistic about how the committee thinks, a projected top 4 going into championship week probably looks something like Ohio State 12-0, rivalry, exorcism, Big Ten, title game ahead, number 1 seed to lose. Indiana 12-0. First perfect regular season in school history, meeting Ohio State and Indy. Georgia, 11-1. Survived Georgia Tech, 16-9, and locked in its SEC title shot when A&M lost. Texas Tech, also 11-1. Big 12 title game berth. 49-0 demolition in the finale, and a chance to finish as a 12-1 champ.
I agree, and right behind them, in the make one wrong move and we're taking your seat category, we have Alabama at 10-2. They have an SEC title shot versus Georgia and a resume built on an Iron Bowl miracle and a brutal schedule. Then we have Ole Miss at 11-1. Hopefully they have coach, right? Only lost to Georgia, Egg Bowl blowout, and a profile that screams top 8 lock, maybe better. Then we have BYU at 11-1. They rallied past UCF to set up a Big 12 title date with Tech. Notre Dame is 10-2. They had 10 straight wins, all by double digits, and they're the metrics darling nobody wants to see as a 5-8 seed. And then Virginia, 10-2. The ACC title shot versus Duke, and the committee loves conference champs. So I want to linger on this for just a moment. A bye isn't promised. You don't inherit rankings. You earn them every single week. Yesterday, we watched teams either protect the blessings they've built or lose them in real time.
Hosting a playoff game on December 19th is now a real possibility for some teams that weren't locked in before yesterday, especially whoever wins between Texas Tech and BYU, plus whoever survives Indy and Atlanta.
Now, the teams that likely jumped or solidified themselves into that top 8 host line, Notre Dame 10-2. They have a 10 straight blowout at Stanford. Top 10 rankings already baked in. Ole Miss again with an 11-1 record. They're 11-1 in the SEC with a rivalry blowout on the road. And then Virginia with the 10-2 record are now walking into Charlotte with a shot at an ACC crown and a top 8 seed if they win.
Texas at 9-3 is more dangerous at large than locked host. But they just knocked off a top 3 team and put the committee on notice.
Campus playoff games are going to feel biblical, like entire cities waking up with purpose. Atmosphere, energy, legacy, all of it's going to be magnified.
Now everything resets for conference championship weekend. These matchups are about to decide everything. In the SEC, East-West champions, Alabama versus Georgia in Atlanta. Bama's off the Iron Bowl. Georgia clinched when A&M fell and then survived Georgia Tech.
Then next game for next weekend, we've got the Big Ten. It's the top 2 teams. There's no divisions anymore. That's Ohio State versus Indiana. Both are 12-0 for a conference title and likely the number 1 and number 2 overall seeds if the winner looks dominant. And then in the Big 12, we take the top 2 teams, which would be Texas Tech versus BYU, with the winner walking straight into the CFP as an automatic qualifier and probably hosting.
And then in the ACC, the top 2 teams, Virginia versus Duke and Charlotte. Virginia got there by beating Virginia Tech. Duke punched its ticket by knocking off Wake Forest and watching chaos behind them.
The SEC and the Big Ten champions are essentially playing for guaranteed buys. The ACC and the Big 12 champions are working to climb as high as the committee will let them.
Everyone has something to fight for. The teams with the strongest identity, the clearest understanding of who they are, tend to rise.
A week from today, the full 12-team college football playoff bracket will be revealed. Sunday, December 7th from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. That's when all of this becomes real. The matchups, the host sites, the quarterfinal bowls, everything.
And we'll be here breaking it down as soon as it drops. But first, watch Tuesday's championship week rankings show. That penultimate CFP release. Those rankings are the breadcrumbs leading to Selection Sunday. And we'll have a fast breakup as soon as those rankings drop. And I'm sure Lee will have thoughts and a blog queued up as well.
You know I will, so stay rooted, stay patient, and stay excited because college football is reminding us once again that everything can change in a single weekend.
That's going to do it for this episode of the AAA Ball and Play podcast. We went from MLB winter deals to rivalry week chaos and somehow kept it all under one show title.
Hot stove, cold-blooded losses, and a playoff picture that looks nothing like we expected on Friday. That's sports, and that's why we keep showing up. Quick reminders before we let you go. Chalk Talk Book Club is Wednesday with our deep dive into Deion Sanders' Elevate and Dominate. If you're trying to build a real blueprint for winning on and off the field, that episode is a must listen. The Ball and Play shop sale is live right now, 10% off and free shipping through December 6th. Hit the link in the show notes, grab your gear, and pull up to your next game, meeting, or signing day looking like you meant to be there. And don't forget, Fast Breaks drop every Monday at 9 a.m. Short, sharp, and built to give athletes, parents, and coaches something better than hot takes to start the week with. And I can tell you already that this week's Fast Breaks are going to be spicy and controversial. I know I am a bit fired up about the Score Act ads that played during the games this weekend, for one.
That she is. And if today helped you see the field a little clearer, the MLB, CFP, or just the business side of things, share the episode with a teammate, a parent, or that friend who thinks qualifying offer is just a sales email.
Rate, review, subscribe, all the things the internet demands. And keep sending your questions and scenarios. We see them, we read them, and we're doing our best to reply to all of them.
She's Lee. I'm Michael.
And this has been the AAA Ball and Play podcast, where we don't just watch the game, we read the contracts too. Have a great Sunday, and we'll see you next time. You're listening to the AAA Ball and Play podcast. Quick note, this is for education and entertainment. Nothing here is legal, tax, or financial advice, and nothing we say creates an athlete-agent relationship. Listening or contacting us does not make us your lawyers or your agents. For advice, talk to a qualified professional in your state.